I think my journey to Red Cross has been a very personal one. My mother worked for Red Cross. One of my grandmothers was a nurse in the Second World War for Red Cross as a volunteer. But even more acutely than that, my grandparents on the other side of my family were all Holocaust survivors and came out to Australia after the Second World War. And my grandmother's memory immediately after the war is being tended to by people wearing a Red Cross emblem. So I think by the time I was born, Red Cross and what they do for victims of armed conflict was already coursing through my veins. I feel really, really lucky and privileged to have had the opportunity to work at Australian Red Cross and to work in the area I work in and be part of the world's largest humanitarian network. An average day for me is a bit hard to explain because it can be lots of different things. I do quite a bit of interstate and international travel in my job, but I also feel like a lot of my days are chocked with meetings. It might be anything from budget and HR and grant management to looking at how we're going to position ourselves on particular advocacy issues, talking through how we position ourselves as an organisation in a neutral and impartial way in a very political environment sometimes, and also grappling with some really big crunchy issues in international humanitarian law and what our contribution might be within Australian Red Cross to those issues. So no 2 days are ever the same. Really the highlight of my job is looking to see how the law can be used as a tool to achieve very practical humanitarian outcomes for people around the world, particularly in times of armed conflict, and watching the negotiation process and seeing what we can produce on topics like reducing the impact of landmines or the humanitarian impacts of nuclear weapons, how we can look at how we better respond to victims of sexual and gender-based violence in armed conflict, or the role of Red Cross and governments in protecting healthcare workers in armed conflict and aid workers is really inspiring and really motivating. And watching what you do with that document, how you get to that point so firmly grounded in these heavy legal texts, and then picking them up and applying them to our programming and seeing the impact it can have on the ground for people is I think what drives me.